Hi guys, thanks everybody for coming down here today. My name is Chris Durson and I'm both an athlete on the Paralympic soccer 7-a-side team, like here, and I'm also the president of Sportability, which is a provincial body for disabled athletes. Now, the reason why I brought you down here today is because all of you are involved in youth soccer. I know some of you have 100 youth soccer athletes, 200, or even 300 athletes. Now this is a great resource for us that we can actually get some disabled athletes out of your program. What I want you to do for you today is actually help you identify some athletes for the program. Now let me ask you a question. If I told you that 1 or 2 of your athletes could be playing international soccer in 2 or 3 years, I imagine you would be very excited, right? Right. I think that's a great chance for anybody. And that's why I'm here, is to actually give them that opportunity. Let you help them get that opportunity. I'm going to structure my presentation just into these 4 categories. One is how to get the benefit for the athletes. Also, identifying who can play the game. Also, letting you guys know how it's different from the FIFA game. And lastly, enabling you to make decisions and get the athletes into the program. And I'd like to reiterate that you could be the start of this athlete's great Paralympic career. Now, how do they benefit? First, as a disabled athlete playing in an able-bodied system, they're inherently at a disadvantage. Put them with other disabled athletes, they have an even playing field and they can thrive. When they join the program, they will get access to provincial level training with Sportability and national training level with the Canadian program. If they can succeed at that level and move up, they have the chance even to go to greater heights. For example, this right here is Barcelona, where we went each of the last 2 years, and that's amazing. You can see from the expression on their faces how happy they are to be there. It's amazing. And I had a chance to go to Portugal, Holland, Brazil twice, Argentina. It's an amazing experience, and I'm so happy for it. You could help your athletes get to places like this. It's really simple actually to who can play. Either they have cerebral palsy from birth like me, I have in the left side of my body, my hand and my left foot are affected, or from mild brain damage or a stroke after birth. So in this case, these 3 right here and this guy here were mild cerebral palsy from before birth, and these 2 had injuries after birth as young adults. This is the key component of my presentation today. I'd like you to focus on these 5 things. These are the characteristics I'd like you to keep in your mind as you're watching the training field. You see your athletes playing, and you notice there's a little bit different way of movement in one of your athletes. These 5 things are the things I'd like you to look for. One is the limp in the leg. So for example, like this. Right? That's one thing. The other one is a tucked arm. Right? A tucked arm. And for some athletes, they have very tight muscles. The arms will be very stiff and legs as well. As well, for some athletes, they have inward turned legs like this. Right? So it's kind of pigeon-toed. Right? So that's another thing to look for. And overall, generally, athletes with cerebral palsy have worse balance than equivalent able-bodied athletes. So that's another thing to look for. Now, it doesn't have to be overly typical, remember this. So if you notice something, ask, and then come to us and we can really in detail classify them. So if you're not sure, ask us to come help you guys. Now, with those ones in mind, the limp, the balance issues, the tucked arm, the tight muscles, the inward turning. Let's take a look at these 3 examples. Number 1, you can see, look at it, if you see his arm there, you may notice the tucked arm. Looking at this guy right here, this is one of the American players, look at this arm right here. It's very, very stiff. That's kind of the tighter muscles. And third, Martel, one of the best strikers in the world, if you look at his legs here, you'll notice that they're inward turned. So these are really classic examples of each of these characteristics. So now that you know these, I'm sure you're going to see them out on the field from time to time. Paralympic soccer is based off FIFA standards with a few alterations. One is that because we have those classifications, we try to balance the field by allowing people with more severe disabilities onto the field as well, through a quota system. In addition, because some people can't traverse the field as well as others, we don't have offsides. This is challenging for a defender like me. We have a shorter field and it's 7-a-side. Because some athletes can't throw legally like this because of one affected arm, we have bowl-ins. And lastly, there are 60-minute games, not 90-minute games, but still hard work. So, I'd like to just go over some of those ideas. So we have those 5 different characteristics I'd like you to look for. I'll give you an email with all these ones in a PDF. And what I'd like you guys to do is just keep your eyes open. When you're on the field, you can see any of these athletes with their limp or anything like that. You just come to us by contacting us here, Sportability BC, provincially, or if you want to go directly to the national body, Drew Ferguson is the national coach. You can email him and he will come out to you and see the athlete, run them through some tests to find out if they're possible. So what I would like to just leave you with is some inspiration. We went from 16th in the world to 11th in the world, and we almost beat England last time. Let's, you guys help us beat England and get into the Paralympics. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.